So good day watch fans, and today we're going to talk about the different types of bezel you get on a Rolex watch. So this is the beginner's guide now for people to understand what the bezels are for and why there's so many different ones of them and what is the ones that you might want to choose for your watch. So first off, we got the smooth bezel. This is Rolex's most traditional bezel. You'll see this bezel now on stainless steel watches and gold watches, whether that be yellow gold, white gold, or ever rose gold. You will also see them on platinum watches. Now these tend to be seen on the day dates or on the Datejust watches. You can also see these on the Milgauss watches, so that's another watch that has a smooth bezel option. Now these are leveled and glossy, or they can be flat and domed depending on the model. The design is not unique to Rolex, but it is considered one of their most versatile bezels. Now the fluted bezel, again a fluted bezel looks absolutely stunning. Again, you'll see this on the Datejusts, you'll see this on the day dates, you'll also see this on the Sky Dwellers. Now fluted bezels only come in a precious metal, so they only come in gold. So the original reason for the fluted bezel was the grooves and ridges was to help screw down the bezel and hold it tighter to the glass, hold it tighter to the crystal. But these days it is just this for aesthetic reasons only, but it does add an element of elegance. So on any watch you have now a fluted bezel, you know that that carries a gold or a precious metal in it. So the next type of bezel you can get is a gem set bezel. Now these are a little bit blingy. These bezels now will come in either a diamond or a sapphire setting. Now the gem sets are usually precious gems. They're to provide an extra element of sort of bling or sort of luxury to the watch. Now if they're aftermarket gem sets, they will decrease the value of the watch. If they are factory set, they will hold the value of the watch. So if you want to put diamonds onto your watch, it will decrease the value unless it is made by Rolex or the company that produced the watch and they have put it on there themselves. Now you'll often see these gem sets, like I said, on the day dates, the Daytonas, and on the Datejusts. Now we're going to move on to the sports models. All the sports model watches now have a bezel that have a use. So again, it goes in the name. As a sports model, it has some sort of use to some sort of sporting activity. Now the first one we're going to look at is the rotatable timer. Now the rotatable timer, you'll see this on a Submariner, a Sea Dweller, and on a Yachtmaster, so the original Yachtmaster. Now these bezels have 60-minute graduations in conjunction with the minute scale on the dial, and they're used to time events that last up to 1 hour. So the Submariner's rotating bezel helps divers monitor how much time they've been underwater, and it helps stop their decompression happening. While the Yachtmaster bezel is there to time distances travelled over water. Now the Submariner and the Deep Sea Dweller, they only turn in one direction. This is a safety mechanism so people don't knock the timer when they're underwater, making them feel that, or making them think that they've been underwater for less time than they actually have. On the Yachtmaster now, it is bi-directional, so it can turn either way. So the Submariner, Sea Dweller bezels now are made of ceramic. So the next one we're going to look at is the 24-hour bezel. Now this is most commonly on Explorers, Explorer 2s and GMT Master 2s or GMTs. The GMT, or the 24-hour bezel as it's also known, can help you track 2 time zones, an AM and a PM. This is made famous on the Pepsis, the Batmans, Batgirls, Sprites, and you can see it has 2 different colours to distinguish AM, PM, and a 24-hour timer around the edges. This can help you set multiple time zones on your watch, so you know that if you're travelling, that you know the time at home and you know the time in the destination that you are staying. Now these are rotatable on the GMTs, but on the Explorers these are fixed, so it shows you 24-hour time, but it is a fixed bezel. Now all the sports models now tend to be ceramic bezels these days. You will get some in stainless steel, so the Explorers are stainless steel, but the GMTs are in ceramic. Now the next one we're going to look at is the Tachymeter. This is what you'll see on chronograph watches like the Daytona. So the Tachymeter bezel is used for chronograph watches and is used to measure speeds. It can either tell speed based on time travelled or measure distance based on speed. This bezel is used by Rolex on the Daytona. Again, it's a fantastic bezel, comes in ceramic. The older models do come in steel, and obviously you can get these in precious metals depending on the model of Daytona. They do have gem set bezels, but the gem set ones are again for aesthetic reasons, not for practicality. Now the Yachtmaster 2 has a ring command bezel. Now the ring command bezel is the latest type of bezel that Rolex introduced, and it is on their more complicated watches. So the Yachtmaster 2, the ring command bezel, is used to set and activate the 10-minute regatta countdown timer. So again, for people that are obviously yachting or boating, this is very handy. Now a lot of these bezels aren't really used for practicality today, and they're just aesthetic. People tend to go for a bezel they like the colour of, or they like the model of the watch. So don't let the use of the bezel necessarily be what determines it for you, but obviously it is nice to know what they do and what they're for. So these are the different bezels that you're going to encounter now whilst buying a Rolex or buying your first Rolex. The main ones you're going to look at now on a more dressy watch is going to be a fluted or a smooth bezel. Sports models now, you're going to see these ceramic bezels, and they tend to be a little bit chunkier. They tend to have dials and numbers around the edges, and they tend to be having a function. Whether you use it for that function, again, that's completely up to you. But there's just a guide now to what bezels you might encounter whilst buying your first Rolex.